Hi everyone, welcome back to Tax Tutoring and Training. My name's Hannah, and today's lesson is going to be all about income from K-1 schedules and rental income. Not so much about rental income because it's not quite in scope for the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program, but we're going to be talking a lot about how to report income from K-1 schedules on your tax return. As always, guided notes are linked in the description down below, so follow along, stay engaged, and complete some practice to help you with your certification to prepare tax returns for this tax season. All right, let's get started. So, what is Schedule K-1? K-1 schedules report the taxpayer's share of income and other distributions, deductions, and credits from their stake in partnerships, S corporations, and some estates and trusts. So if your taxpayer has a share or some sort of stake in a partnership or an S corporation, or even some estates, so say they own part of a rental property, that would be where they would receive Schedule K-1 to get to almost document their receipt of all these benefits, all this income from these assets. So the first type of K-1 schedule that we're going to be going over is Schedule K-1 for S corporations. And these are reported on also in conjunction with Form 1120S. And 1120S reports the taxpayer's share of income reduced by any tax the corporation paid on the income. An S corporation is a flow-through entity, meaning that the taxpayer will not be taxed at both the business level and the personal level. So they won't be taxed at two levels, one for having even stake in a business, which is what an S corporation is, and at the personal level. So it almost acts like the income from the S corporation just goes straight into the bank account of the shareholders. So if your taxpayer has stake in an S corporation, they'll only be taxed at the individual level. And that's what we mean by flow-through entity. And we're also going to see this in a partnership. And Schedule K-1 for partnerships is reported on Form 1065. And Form 1065 reports the taxpayer's share of partnership income. And this is not generally subject to tax on the corporation level. This is the same as a flow-through entity. Owners will pay the individual tax. For K-1 schedules on estates and trusts, we will be using Form 1041. And so just some vocab for you to understand is a fiduciary. And a fiduciary of a domestic dependence estate, trust, or bankruptcy estate uses the form to report a share of income from interests, dividends, and capital gains that the taxpayer must list. So the fiduciary basically issues the Form 1041 in which the taxpayer will report this number on their tax return, and they can come into a VITA site to get their tax return voluntarily prepared if they have these certain qualifications. However, the VITA program isn't all expansive as we are a volunteer organization. So if you are a taxpayer interested in this volunteer service, I encourage you to look over these limited in scope income topics. So if you're a taxpayer and you have either interest income, tax exempt interest income, dividends or qualified dividends income, short/long-term capital gains and losses or royalty income reported on Schedule E, we can only do a limited amount on these topics. If you want more information on if we can do your dividends or your dividends or tax exempt interest income or capital gains, if you want to know if the VITA site can do it, I encourage you to watch the rest of my video series as we go into exactly what the VITA site is qualified to do in regards to these certain situations. And one thing I did want to touch on really quick a little bit is royalty income. And royalty income is only in scope if the source document is a K-1 or 1099 miscellaneous with no expenses. So if you are a taxpayer who has a 1099 miscellaneous form with no expenses, then yes, the VITA site can do your royalty income, which is really cool. Now, I mentioned we were going to go a little bit into rental, but the only thing we're going to talk about really about rental is that it's not in scope for the VITA program unless you're going to a VITA site that has people certified in military level certifications by the IRS. My VITA site, we're located at the West CTA VITA site in Las Vegas, and we don't have any people certified in military. So if you're a taxpayer and you want to see if we can handle your rental schedules, we cannot. I'm sorry, but I highly encourage you to find a VITA site that does have military level certifications. All right, with that, that's our very quick lesson on K1 and rental income. I hope you guys had fun, and I'll see you next time. Bye.